Hey, I don't have to tell you, ministry is tough. There's lots of obstacles. I want to share with you 2 obstacles that you can easily overcome. Every one of us is called into ministry. Every believer. You are. You have a calling. Forget that you're not a pastor or something like that. That's the formal ministry, but you are in ministry. You are called by God. In fact, I want to share with you the first and the last words that Jesus shared with the Apostle Peter. His first words to Peter were these: "Follow me, and I will make you a fisher of men." That's his first words. We're telling Peter, you're in the ministry, Peter. And then his last word on earth to Peter was this: "Peter, feed my sheep." John 21:17. Well, just like Peter, you're called to ministry too. And you know by now, there's lots of obstacles to it. Well, I want to share with you 2 obstacles to overcome. Here's the first one: lack of perceived results. Sometimes you're doing ministry and you're not seeing all the results that you hope to see. You're not seeing people fall over you, welcoming everything that you've got to say or everything you have to do for them. Let me say this: don't worry about the results. Don't worry about the lack of perceived results. Here's what you do. You go forward anyway in the ministry God's called you, no matter what results you hear or see or don't hear or see. Let me give you an example. There was a guy training to be an expert piano player. He was going for his doctorate in playing the piano. Now, there was one problem that he had, and that is that, he was partially deaf. He could hear all of the low notes. He could hear the mid-range notes. But this man could barely hear some of the higher notes, and the very high notes he couldn't hear at all. So this is what he had to do. He had to play those pieces anyway, even though he would get into a range where he was not hearing the results of what he was pressing. He played them expertly anyway, and his music was wonderful, terrific, a blessing, beautiful. It impacted many, many lives. Well, God's calling for the very same thing in your life. If you don't hear the results, if you don't notice what happens after you do a certain thing, just like he didn't hear when he pressed the key, do it anyway. Do it anyway, despite what you perceive of as the results. A lack of perceived results must never stop you from doing everything God is calling you to do. You may never hear the results. You may only hear the results years and years later. Either way, you be focused on the doing, no matter what you hear or don't hear about what comes from that. The results are God's responsibility. Our responsibility is to be faithful to what He's calling us to do. So look at this passage here in 1 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 6. We read this: "I," that's Paul, "planted, Apollos watered, but God was causing the growth." Who was responsible for the growth in the ministry? It wasn't Paul. It wasn't Apollos. It was God. What we're responsible to do is whatever God calls us to do. What God's responsible to do is to get the results. So no matter what you're perceiving as results, no matter what notes you're not hearing or hearing, you go forward and never stop in the calling God's given you. Here's another obstacle to overcome, and it's this: ministry is filled with unexpected events. Sometimes they're unexpected and they're encouraging, but often they're unexpected and they're discouraging, but they're definitely unexpected. Think about your own life and think about maybe the last 5 years. Did everything in the last 5 years happen the way you would expect them to happen? Probably not. In fact, I'm sure the last 5 years of your life are filled with unexpected things. When it comes to ministry, be ready for a lot of unexpected things so that when you have something come into your life, come into your ministry that's unexpected, it doesn't stop you from doing everything God calls you to do. I once had a friend, and he always talked to me about his 21st birthday. His 21st birthday was a big deal to him. Here's why. Something unexpected happened on his 21st birthday. He got fired. He got let go. There wasn't anything he did, but they didn't need him anymore, and he was out by the end of the day on his birthday. Well, after that, here's what he did. He started his own business. Eventually, that business really took off, and today he's a 75-year-old man still talking about his 21st birthday, because that was the day, that was the event, that was the unexpected turn that led to his new business, that led to his thriving in that business, and led to him being able to take an early retirement and enjoy the fruits of that business even now. So you know what? Not everything that's unexpected that's going to happen is going to be something negative or bad. In fact, it's going to be something that God is using to be good in your ministry and in your life. Look at Ephesians chapter 3, verse 20. It says this, "Now to him who is able to do more abundantly beyond all that we ask or think." God's going to do stuff that's unexpected because he's doing stuff that's beyond all that we could ask or think. The unexpected is really God doing a better plan than the plan that we had. That's an obstacle to always overcome, the unexpected. Never let it stop you from your ministry. So the scriptures give us these words. They say, "But as for you, brethren, do not grow weary in doing good." Don't grow weary in your ministry. Instead, it says this in 2 Timothy, "I remind you to fan into flame the gift that God has given you." Friends, never grow weary in the ministry God's given you. Instead, fan into flame the gift that he's placed in you to bless other people. To never grow weary and to always fan into flame, overcome the obstacles of the unexpected, the obstacles of the lack of perceived results. Overcome those obstacles, stay in ministry, and let God produce wonderful results year in and year out through you. Hope you've enjoyed this devotional, and I want to encourage you to subscribe to our channel. We're building a community that's looking at all of the top 50 questions ever asked about Christianity. Subscribe, like, share. We'd love to have you as part of our community. And I hope that you will join us also for these midweek devotionals. Midweek devotional, question every Sunday. What a great time we're going to be having together every week. And remember, for every question, there's always an answer.